Happy New Year! January 2026 starts with a bang. There is a magical and rare double Cazimi of Venus and Mars, a big cosmic shift of Neptune into Aries, and two powerful lunations in Cancer and Capricorn. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in readings, teaching classes, creating products. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Stick around. You'll enjoy it. If you've been here a while and you enjoy my content, show your support by leaving a like, a comment, subscribe, press the notification bell, hype my video, or say thank you by buying me a tea, a coffee, a croissant. Send this video to anyone you know. It may feel really small, but it helps. It helps me grow. It is showing your appreciation and it's encouraging me to create more content. Visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to work with me personally. There are, of course, reading. Natal chart is perfect for beginning. Relationship consultation is great for understanding your compatibility. I do predictive readings, solar return, best done around your birthday. Year ahead is it's a perfect time to get that. Year ahead reading is discounted right now. You can use the code 2026 to save $20 on the in-person reading, or save $40 by visiting Candle Shop or Print Shop and getting a recorded version of the reading there. Visit my courses. My upcoming predictive astrology class begins in March, and in 3 months you will learn how to use solar returns, annual perfections, and transits to forecast your future, helping you avoid making mistakes and maximizing all the opportunities astrology has to offer. You won't regret it. It's going to be great. On my website, you can also pick up my 2026 planner. Get this so you can start your year strong. It contains over 227 pages, exactly 227 pages, filled with insights about astrology. There are lots of spaces to set your intentions. Every month is broken down. There are calendars, lunar signs, void, of course, moons. Every lunation has its own page with ritual suggestions and intention setting prompts. Perfect tool to have. I've been creating this because I wanted to have a planner that I love. Additionally, we are in the darker part of the year, and Aquarius season begins in January. The sun is considered to be in its detriment in Aquarius because of how cold and dark it is. I'd love to highlight my sunlight in a jar 2 or 3 candle. This captures the sun in its domicile in Leo, bright solar, great for gaining recognition, support of people in power, finding inspiration, finding your voice and your presence. Perfect for right now, for colder months of the year, so you can feel a little bit warmed up, energized, and ready to take on the world. Extra good for those born with their sun in Libra or Aquarius. If your sun is in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, it's harder sometimes to connect with oneself with the sun there. Additionally, if you have the sun in aspect to Saturn, Pluto, and Chiron, if you have those two connected, conjunct. So we're going to take a look at the general breakdown of the month, as I always do, highlighting the most important dates. And then after that, I will break down the transits for all 12 zodiac signs. I will only cover the most important ones. If you'd like a personalized monthly breakdown, check out the plans and pricing subscriptions on my website. On there, you can get a monthly either horoscope reading with me via email, or a VIP includes a consultation every month for 30 minutes, chatting it up. So in January, we have a lot of action in Capricorn and Aquarius. In the beginning of the month, there is a congregation of planets, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars in Capricorn. And then later in the month, starting January 17th, the planets begin to shift into Aquarius. Venus first, then the Sun, then Mercury, and finally Mars. A major change is Neptune entering Aries on January 26th to stay for 13 years. It's not going to leave until March 2039. There is a full moon in Cancer and a new moon in Capricorn. So let's take a look at all of this chronologically. And then we will dive into the most important transits for the 12 zodiac signs. I always recommend listening for your rising sign, but if you resonate more with your sun or moon, or you just want to compare, definitely listen to it all. So on the 1st of January, Mercury squares Neptune early in the day. This represents confused thinking, maybe some deception in your conversation, insecurity, uncertainty. So avoid making big decisions. Instead, use this time for creative writing, for spiritual exploration, meditation, sound healing, sound baths, astrology. Right after Mercury enters Capricorn on January 1st, we'll stay there until January 20th. Mercury in Capricorn is pragmatic, strategic, grounded, rational, really good for any kind of paperwork, any kind of career dealings, logistics, legal matters, any type of business conversations. Your speech is very like no nonsense, direct and straight to the point. On January 2nd, Chiron goes direct, starting to move out of Aries. It's going to leave and enter Taurus for a few months this year, bringing clarity in the Aries sector of your chart, potentially helping you heal and problem solve in that part of your chart a little bit better. On Saturday, January 3rd, we get a full moon in 13 degrees Cancer. This full moon looks back at June, July 2025, that Cancer season, and the new moon in Cancer, and offers you opportunities to connect with your heart. We are in the midst of Capricorn season. It's all about ambition, achievement, success, no nonsense, get things done, Saturnian approach. So in the middle of the Capricorn season, we get this full moon in Cancer that reminds us that you kind of have to tend to yourself. You have to nurture yourself. You have to take breaks sometimes. Capricorn is the father, Cancer is the mother, sort of very traditional, right? Archetypes of the father and the mother. And so the Cancer full moon can be very much about like, take a beat, connect with your feelings, express your feelings, rest, take a bath, drink some tea, and hang out with people you love. January 6th and 7th are potentially my favorite days this month. We have Venus Cazimi on the 6th. Venus conjoining the sun in the perfect magical conjunction. Beautiful for love, beautiful for telling people how you feel, asking for support, asking for recognition, conceiving new projects, starting like art, shopping, decorating, any kind of beauty procedures. January 7th is very similar. Venus conjoins Mars. We have the passion, the zeal, the charm, the ability to attract, right? And we are very Capricornian still, so we are focused on productive and grounded in our approach. There is a Mars Cazimi on January 9th. So Venus Cazimi is about starting the new cycle for Venus, for love, beauty, creativity. Mars Cazimi on January 9th is about starting a new cycle for Mars. Perfect time to set intentions when it comes to exercising, when it comes to your business, when it comes to any type of like action that you're planning to take. On the 9th of January, Venus will oppose Jupiter. Can suggest that you're having too much fun and things are getting out of control. Sometimes Venus opposite Jupiter represents tension between what is wise and what we desire, and we try to figure out what to do, and we make some mistakes in the process. Like, let's say Jupiter in Cancer tells you that it is wise to save money for retirement, but Venus opposite Jupiter says that you want to buy a boat. So which one to follow, right? Might be difficult. The Sun and Mars oppose Jupiter as well on January 10th. So it's sort of similar energy continues, trying to figure out how to balance the emotional with the rational, the conscious with maybe some subconscious, how to take things slow. On the 14th of January, Mercury opposes Jupiter. So we're kind of dealing with like big ideas, grand plans, aspirations that maybe feel great in the moment, but don't necessarily always feel great long term. On the 15th of January, Venus makes a couple of lovely aspects as she sextiles Saturn and trines Uranus. You are focused on long term and you're seeking to commit and solidify your relationships while being open-minded and curious and playful. Uranus will encourage experimentation in love. It will encourage you to date people that normally maybe you wouldn't date, to open yourself up to new possibilities and even new creative opportunities. On the 17th of January, Venus sextiles Neptune. Still sort of soulful, spiritual, forgiving, kind, compassionate, inspired, perfect for filming, for creating. Venus really has a good time for the most part the first 2 weeks of January. And then she enters Aquarius on January 17th to stay until February 10th. And we're going from conventional to unconventional, traditional to unique. We used to care about dating someone who's got a 401k. Now we want to date someone who wants to change the world and make it a better place. We're more attracted to the intelligence. We care about the person's brain much more than we care about their wallet. Same day, January 17th, we have the Sun sextiling Saturn and trining Uranus. It's a good transit for similar sort of with Venus. You're open-minded and you're encouraged to express your unique ideas, but you're doing that in a structured, logical way. And as a result, you're more likely to get applause and recognition for your ideas and your work. Mercury conjoins Mars on January 18th. Sharp mind, cutting words, good for debating, good for competing, good for business dealings, good for any legal battles. Of course, watch out that you're not sort of being intimidating and dramatic and threatening people. We also get a new moon in Capricorn on the same day, January 18th, in 28 degrees 43 minutes Capricorn. It's actually conjunct Mercury and Mars. So it's the new moon that has urgency to it, that has focus on creating something of value, something long-lasting in your professional life, at work, in your relationships. There is a very strategic approach to things. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. It can help you find the shortcuts when necessary, talk to people who can help you out, connect with, maybe find opportunities that will offer you rewards and recognition. We have Mercury sextiling Saturn, trining Uranus between January 18th, 19th. So similar, we're continuing to be open-minded, good at problem solving. 18th, 19th is actually really good for submitting paperwork, for studying, doing research, maybe even therapy, important conversations, all of things like that. January 19th, the Sun sextiles Neptune, giving you heightened sensitivity, imagination, creativity. And then shortly after, the Sun enters Aquarius. We'll be there from January 19th until February 18th, urging you to break away from convention, similarly to what Venus wanted. And the humanitarian within you is waking up. You're suddenly becoming more interested in what makes people tick and how to make the world a better place. You may notice that you love humanity, but you dislike the people. You're thinking about helping the world, but you kind of want to get away from the world. Venus conjoins Pluto on January 19th, which can bring up any tensions, friction, and power struggles in relationships. Can also intensify your desire for love. Watch out that you don't go too far in your search for love and affection, and don't go for people that are obviously bad for you. Beware of possessiveness and jealousy coming from you, because we always talk about power struggles, but sometimes you could be the one instigating power struggles. So watch out for that. On January 20th, Saturn sextiles Uranus. Previously, this happened on April 4th, 2025 and August 11th, 2025. Saturn in connection with Uranus brings self-discipline and endurance of Saturn together with open-mindedness and inventiveness of Uranus. So it's a really good time for maybe updating your website, for exploring AI or any kind of technological advances that can help you professionally, and maybe update old systems, right? But also figure out where should you keep old systems versus where you should go in the new direction. On the 20th of January, still, we have Mars trining Uranus sextile Saturn. So Mars actually connects harmoniously with this stability, innovative energy, and helps you start new projects, be daring, be determined, and be steady while you're exploring new things. Mercury sextiles Neptune and then enters Aquarius on the same day on January 20th. So Mercury now joins Venus and the Sun. You're communicating with coolness, level-headedness, a little bit of detachment. You're very factual in your speech. May come across as a little bit cold, but at the same time, you're just being like rational and Saturnian in the way you speak. We have a Mercury Cazimi on January 21st. Insight, good news, good for communication, good for applications, good for business matters, quick thinking, insight, curiosity are on your side. Mercury conjoins Pluto on January 22nd. The Sun conjoins Pluto on January 23rd. So Pluto will intensify your speech and interactions, your goals, but it can also reveal things that are outdated. And again, it's going to do that through psychological self-analysis. It's going to do that through maybe revealing things that are outdated and things that you need to release and leave behind. There may be some obsessive tendencies, some power dynamics, power imbalances, and all of that is, again, just designed to help you leave things that do not serve you in the past. Mars sextiles Neptune on January 23rd, increasing your desire for spirituality, increasing your desire for soulful relationships, increasing your desire to help the world and do things that serve others and are more altruistic. Mars enters Aquarius on January 23rd, becoming the 4th planet in Aquarius. So it's like Capricorn, 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 and then Aquarius, Aquarius, Aquarius. And so Mars being here from January 23rd until March 2nd is a sign that you are going to express yourself in unconventional ways. You don't want to do things the way they used to be done. You are maybe very sort of focused on working in a group, but you don't want to do things the way they've always been done. There's like desire for some kind of fun, unique ways of doing things. And sexually, Mars in Aquarius sometimes really enjoys like the idea of sex more than the actual experience of it. The biggest transit this month, Neptune enters Aries on January 26th. Will stay there until 2039. We've had Neptune in Aries between March 30 and October 22nd, 2025. What was that like? Neptune in Aries inspires us to be martial, to be assertive, to take risks, to do things in a brave way, but still focus on helping others, on improving the world at large. It's kind of this like fiery inspiration to go forth. And Aries is a cardinal sign. It's about new beginnings, and Neptune is about dreams and ideals. And for the next 13 years, we're going to be facing some dreams and realizing what is possible versus what might just be a fever dream. Fever dream! Fever dreams of Neptune and Aries. I'm going to write it down for myself. I like this. And of course, in February, we're going to have Saturn joining Neptune. So it's a lot is going on. On January 27th, Mars conjoins Pluto. This one is tricky. This one is rough because Mars conjunct Pluto is like a warrior in the underworld having to fight with ghosts and sometimes things that are invisible, and in the process you may hurt some people. So there may be, you know, it could be powerful for like working in solitude, tackling your goals, overcoming obstacles. But it can also be too dramatic where you're just so driven to overcome obstacles that you like go over people's heads, and you're being sort of too uncompromising. So avoid being kind of, you know, difficult and manipulating other people, bullying people and things like that, and watch out for others doing that to you. The month ends on a beautiful note as Mercury conjoins Venus on January 29th, bringing charming speech, joy in relationships, opportunities to tell people how you feel, create art, make new friends, go on dates, express your artistic and creative talents. So this is it in terms of breaking down the month. If you want personal breakdown of most of the important transits, get a subscription with me at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Take advantage of my year ahead special and save $20 on the year ahead reading with the code 2026, or get a recorded reading and save $40. For that, you'd have to go in the shop section of my website. And let's take a look at the 12 signs, starting with Aries rising. So if you're an Aries rising in December, there was a lot of focus on Sagittarius, your 9th house, as you traveled, learned, explored new things, maybe connected with foreign people, or like looked to go in new directions. However, all of the planets, including the new moon on December 19th in Sagittarius, squared Saturn and Neptune in Pisces in your 12th house, and perhaps you had to deal with some fears, restrictions, things outside of your control, unresolved wounds and issues that slowed you down and required some introspection, right? And maybe some healing. And there was later in the month, we had planets one by one begin to shift into Capricorn, your 10th house of career. So and in January, we're very much continuing along that path. Mars is in your 10th house until the 23rd. The Sun is until the 19th. Venus, Mercury are there most of the month. So you are very much visible professionally. If you are, let's say you do have like a job, regular job, right? January might be full of opportunities to speak at a conference, to express your idea to your boss, to speak up at a meeting, to lead some kind of project. January 6th, we have Venus Cazimi. January 9th, we have Mars Cazimi. On the 7th, Venus conjoins Mars. It's all these opportunities to like conceive of something, start something new, right? And the new moon on January 18th is especially significant for that because it's literally the sun and moon coming together. There's also Mercury and Mars in the mix. If you're trying to figure out work and what you want to do, this is great. This might suggest that new people, that there are new opportunities, that people are bringing ideas your way, that you're maybe getting inspired. Venus Cazimi on the 6th is especially nice because it can bring clarity and reveal things for you, reveal things to you. If you are retired, this can also be about some type of like project that comes your way, right? Maybe there is a spot at a local food pantry that needs to be filled and you're being asked to step up. Maybe there is some kind of leadership opportunity. I like this. Mars, especially here, feels like you're being almost like no nonsense right now. You're being, it's like a good amount of charm and aggression, but aggression that doesn't feel intimidating, aggression that actually feels like confidence as you step up and take control over your professional life. On January 3rd, we have a full moon in Cancer, your 4th house. This completes the chapter started in late June, early July when we had a new moon in Cancer. and reminds you that amidst all of this professional fever, professional focus, you need to go within and retreat and take care of your needs. The full moon in Cancer could be this time to sort of step back and nurture yourself and nurture your needs and connect with your sort of emotional self. It can also bring completion and changes to your home, family, and living situation. So reflect on late June, early July to see what was happening. Maybe you started looking for a place and now you find it. Maybe you've discovered that you're going to have to move and now you do. Maybe your family said they're going to come visit and now they come visit. Maybe you've discovered that your sister was pregnant and now she has a baby. So it's like an interesting beat within the otherwise heavy, busy Capricorn season. It's a positive Capricorn season, but I think there's just this sort of reminder that you can't just work. You have to, like, I don't know, buy yourself a cozy blanket and read a book and take a moment and feel comfortable within before you venture outside and conquer all the stars from the starboard. On January 17th, Venus enters Aquarius, your 11th house. The Sun follows on the 19th, then Mercury and Mars a few days later. And this now sort of highlights your house of communication, your house of community. You are social, you are friendly, you're going to more get-togethers, you're maybe starting to date someone who is a friend or a colleague, someone who's in your environment, is in the same friendship circle. Maybe you're meeting them online. Aquarius, 11th house, could very much be meeting someone online or meeting someone through like a party, through friends, through a friend's wedding. There might be a little bit of power struggles and some drama with friends, especially around the 19th, the 23rd, and the 27th of the month, a few days before, a few days after, as Venus, the Sun, and Mars all conjoin Pluto. So watch out for that. And the biggest shift, the biggest cosmic shift of the month occurs on January 26th as Neptune enters Aries, your first house. Neptune has been here in 2025 between March 30 and October 22nd. What has it inspired you to do? Neptune is likely to, it can make you very chameleon-like. It can suggest that you're sort of shape-shifting based on who you are around. It also is likely to inspire you and sort of fire you up, feed your inner fire, kind of call you to do spiritual things, to do altruistic things, to do creative things, right? Things like that are less about you and more about the world at large. Yeah, if you remember what was it like last year, I'd be very curious, because that was just like a teaser trailer and more is coming. Visit Anastasia.astrology.com for more. Take advantage of my year ahead special and save on the year ahead reading until the end of January. Information is in the description. And join my course, pick up my planner, check out all the things I have on there. For the lovely Taurus rising, in December, there was a lot of focus on your finances and shared finances. You maybe have been paying off debts, renegotiating some contracts, taking care of your mortgage payments, your insurance payments, inheritance matters, as we had the full moon in Gemini, your second house, and a bunch of planets in Sagittarius, your eighth. Chances are that there were some obstacles involving your alliances and your community, your social media. Maybe you had a great idea, but you felt kind of a lack of support, or you felt like things are moving a little bit slower than you would like. And from the middle of the month, planets started to shift into Capricorn, your ninth house, suggesting a strong desire to grow. And this continues in January. We have pretty much most of the month until January 23rd, we have 4 planets in Capricorn. Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury. There's also a new moon here on the 18th of the month. And you are productive, you are hardworking, and you are very driven to study, whether it's a full-blown 4-year education program or you want to take a class in astrology, you want to join my predictive astrology course, visit my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. It begins in March. Great time to sign up. You may be also thinking about traveling, teaching, writing something. There's a lot of desire to grow, and we have beautiful transits supporting this. On the 6th of the month, there is a Venus Cazimi. On the 9th of the month, there is a Mars Cazimi. And they feel very like inspired. They give you new ideas. So even if you're not a writer, right, this can bring up some kind of like philosophical insight and opportunity to put your message out there and share your message with other people. And then on the 18th of January, when we have a new moon in Capricorn, this is very much like planting seeds. Maybe you're thinking of moving to a different country. Maybe you're thinking about starting a travel blog. Maybe you're thinking about buying property in a different country as well. Maybe you're getting an idea to write. Maybe you're starting some kind of legal proceeding. All of that is possible. The full moon in Cancer on January 3rd completes chapters started in late June, early July 2025, when we had a new moon in Cancer, and offers you opportunities to tidy things up in your immediate environment as you're going for these big goals, right? It also kind of like encourages you to slow down, because Capricorn season can be very much like go, 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 achieve, 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 accomplish, take your feelings aside and just focus on progress. And so the full moon on January 3rd is very much like, no, you need to go hang out with your siblings. You need to make yourself a cup of tea. You need to make sure that your space is cozy and comfortable and really nice. And then as you do that, then you'll feel more like opening space around you or beautifying space around you gets reflected in your head and in the way you feel about maybe yourself and your goals. From January 17th onwards, we got Venus, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars all shifting into Aquarius, your 10th house. And from that period onwards, you are starting to feel like your professional life is speeding up. And if you're not working right now, maybe it's about your public life and you're suddenly getting invited to more places. You're maybe speaking in public, you're expressing your ideas in public. There's more opportunities to shine, to see and be seen. It's a great time for anyone who has like a traditional career. If you work for yourself, this might be a period when you're just like buzzing with new ideas and you're starting new projects. You're maybe exploring new professional directions. Mars here from January 23rd until March 2nd can flavor your expression with sort of this like no nonsense, masculine almost approach to your career. A few dates to note here that may be a little bit like be careful dates. That is January 19th, 23rd, and 27th, as Venus, the Sun, and Mars conjoin Pluto. That can bring up power struggles, tensions, conflicts with authority figures. It can also suggest that your desires are so intense that you're losing track of what is realistic, that you're maybe pushing for something. Watch out for people being kind of difficult and frustrating and maybe contradictory or bullying and toxic, and be careful that you're not one of those people, because sometimes Pluto can just like blind you with desires and ambitions that you're sort of feeling very strongly. The biggest cosmic shift of the month occurs on January 26th, and that is Neptune entering Aries, your 12th house. It will stay here until 2039. Ooh, who can even picture that far in the future? So Neptune has been here since March 30 and until October 22nd, 2025, between March 30 and October 22nd. What has it brought up in your life? On one hand, Neptune can increase your escapist tendencies. It can sort of encourage more debauchery and more perhaps avoidant behavior. So maybe it will reveal to you where you're being too escapist and avoidant. On the other hand, it can direct your sights and inspire you to do spiritual work, to work in a healing field, perhaps start working at a prison or at a hospital or at a mental institution, guiding people, helping people. And yeah, spiritual pursuits, imaginative work like yoga, even creative kind of work will be on your mind, I think, at this point. Sometimes Neptune also will urge you to like go away, go to an ashram and meditate and connect with religion. There may be some like important spiritual changes that you're going through. And do share if you remember what it was like in 2025. What do you think it already revealed for you? Visit AnastasiaDoesAstrology.com. Use the code 2026 to save $20 on the year ahead reading until the end of the month and the end of January. You can also save $40 by getting a recorded option in the shop on my website. Register for my course, Predictive Astrology, begins in March, and pick up your 2026 planner. You still can get it. The year just about to begin or just started. For the lovely Gemini risings, December focused your attention on your health and identity as well as relationships. We had a lot of planets in your 7th house. The Sun, Venus, Mars, Mercury, and the new moon in Sagittarius. They all, however, squared Saturn and Neptune in Pisces in the 10th house. So maybe you had to deal with some friction between your desire to date or your relationship and what was happening at work, maybe a new partnership and duties you had to others, or even relationships and maybe judgment of people in power like parents, etc. And then from the middle of the month, we started having planets shift into Capricorn, your 8th house, encouraging you to explore astrology, spirituality, therapy, mysteries, as well as address any debts and payments you maybe had to make. That continues throughout January until January 23rd, as we now have Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and new moon in Capricorn, your 8th house. So you're busy paying off debts, renegotiating loans, collaborating with other people. Venus here conjoins the Sun in the magical Cazimi on January 6th. Mars conjoins the Sun in Mars Cazimi on January 9th. There's a lot of focus on collaborating. There may be some new projects, new partnerships, new agreements being forged and kind of growing, right? The new moon on the 18th is also symbolic of powerful opportunities. Venus here is really good for putting your work together with someone else's and actually coming up with a result that you wouldn't have come up with on your own. A lot of artists do it. It's kind of like sampling someone else's music, right? So maybe that's what you're doing in your chosen field. You're maybe noticing rewards and financial gains and returns on investment, especially around the 6th and the 7th of the month with that Venus Cazimi conjunct Mars. And the new moon on the 18th can also be powerful for like exploring new investment opportunities, new collaborations, new financial venues and financial avenues of expression. And another way, like I said, this can also be really good for healing and for leaning into astrology, spirituality. For those of you interested, I am teaching a predictive astrology course in March. So if you know the basics of astrology, join us and you will learn how to forecast your future with astrological techniques. On January 3rd, there's a full moon in Cancer, your second house. It completes the chapter started in late June, early July, back when we had Cancer season and new moon in Cancer, and offers you a chance to speak about your values and clarify your priorities. Because the focus is very heavy on Capricorn, right? The relationships with other people, the duties to other people, the promises to other people. But the full moon in Cancer is actually more about connecting with your heart and taking care of you and sort of working on your confidence and your personal finances and your personal self-worth. Financially, this could be some type of payment, a raise, maybe a business opportunity or a completion of a project that you've been working on, and maybe, let's say you've been waiting for an inheritance and you receive it, and the full moon is an opportunity to figure out where to direct the resources and what to spend the finances on. From January 17th onwards, Venus enters Aquarius, your 9th house, then the Sun, then Mercury and Mars. So we're starting to see the shift from the 8th house, where you're dealing with these relationship questions and maybe being a little bit hidden, to the 9th house. And 9th house is all about travel and learning and deeper search, sort of you're craving something more in life and you're maybe signing up for classes, you're maybe teaching yourself or traveling or booking trips. There could also be opportunities to explore religion, meditation, astrology, study, as mentioned, and deal with visas, applications, legal matters. Watch out for like ideological debates and heated discussions and maybe my way or the highway attitude, especially around the 19th, 23rd, and 27th of the month, as Venus, the Sun, and Mars all conjoin Pluto. This can get heated and ugly potentially if you don't brace yourself. Breathe deeply. And the biggest cosmic shift occurs on January 26th, 2026, which is obvious, that's what we're talking about, as Neptune enters Aries, your 11th house, to stay for 13 years. We've gotten a preview of this between March 30 and October 22nd, 2025. What was that like? Neptune entering your 11th house inspires you to follow new dreams that involve the collective, that involve guiding, inspiring, helping other people. It can be a very altruistic Neptune. It can be also very creatively inspired Neptune. You decide to write a book, you decide to start volunteering, you decide to start a social media channel where you talk about magic and astrology and spirituality. Neptune here can also create an element of confusion and bring confusing people into your life, maybe people who are escapist and need some kind of help and guidance. So watch out that you're not associating with people that are actually not good for you. And make sure you have really clear boundaries when this transit begins, because it might be easy to kind of fall prey to false prophets and false guides and teachers. Visit Anastasia.astrology.com to book a reading. Save on the year ahead. It's discounted until the end of January. Information is in the description. Register for my course on there and pick up my 2026 planner. It's time. It's time. 2026 is here, you guys. For the lovely Cancer rising, in December, there was a lot of focus on your sectors of physical and mental health, with the full moon in the 12th and a lot of planets, including new moon in Sagittarius, your 6th house. So maybe you handled health matters, saw doctors, maybe you've dealt with some problem solving. Sagittarius planet squared Saturn and Neptune in your 9th house, and there may have been some obstacles, delays, and challenges involving travel, involving logistics, involving foreign people, visas, education matters, things like that. Something maybe put some strain on your health or frustrated you. From the middle of the month, Mars, the Sun, and Venus shifted into Capricorn, your 7th house, bringing a welcome relief and bringing a lot of focus to relationships, partnerships, contracts, and agreements. This is where we pick up in January. Now Mercury also joins Capricorn on the 1st of the month. And until the 23rd, your 7th house is hopping. So you are busy interacting with others. If you're single, maybe you're dating. Maybe you're just going out there and meeting more people. If in a relationship, there may be more opportunities to go out together, have exciting dates, maybe more ease in a relationship, especially with Venus here until the 17th of the month. We get the lovely and magical Venus Cazimi on the 6th of January, and then Mars Cazimi on the 9th of January, and the two can join on the 7th. So 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th are like really, really magical and lovely. And because it's happening in your 7th house of relationships, I love this for starting a new relationship. I love this for committing, moving a relationship to the next level. We're also talking about partnerships here, right? A business partnership, writing partnership, a nanny or a cleaning lady that you're collaborating with or deciding to work with. A lot of opportunities to join with other people in all the different kinds of agreements. The new moon here on the 18th is very similar energy as well. It conjoins Mercury and Mars, so it makes you very strategic in how you approach things. So yeah, it's a really good month for joining forces with other people and even like asking them for advice, asking people for help. Signing contracts, negotiating deals, signing a new lease, right? Like anywhere where you have to deal with other people. January 3rd brings a full moon in Cancer, your 1st house. Changes, transformations, completion of the cycle started in late June, early July with a new moon in Cancer, and opportunities to take care of you. The focus is heavy all months on relationships and other people and connections with other people. And this full moon at the beginning of the month really reminds you that if you're not happy within yourself, if you are stressed and struggling and you're not nurturing yourself, chances are your relationships will reflect that and other people will feel that. So the full moon in Cancer is all about slow down, take a beat, go within, nurture yourself. There may be opportunities to handle a health matter. Let's say you've been scheduled for surgery, so maybe that's the time when you get it, or maybe even changes to your diet, exercise routine, some transformations in your look and your style are also possible, but it's really a good time, I think, to just take a beat and be like, hey, I love you, let's keep working on this, but I need to go and take care of me. Especially after the busy holiday season, right? Like sometimes I think holiday season can be exhausting. After January 17th, the planets one by one begin to shift into Aquarius, Venus being first. And you're still very relationship oriented, but now you're starting to question what is fair. And you're starting to look at how you're sharing with other people and maybe trying to discuss things that are a little bit uncomfortable, especially as Mercury comes here on the 20th of the month and we get a Mercury Cazimi. Shortly after that, on the 21st, I believe. When is Mercury Cazimi? Mercury Cazimi. On the 21st of the month. A little bit of a singing me. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of focus on fairness and having conversations, and it can also inspire you to renegotiate some contracts and figure out, pay off some debts or call your insurance and get a better rate, ask for a loan, ask for a raise potentially as well. I'd love to highlight the more difficult moments here, and that is January 19th, 23rd, and 27th, as Venus, the Sun, and Mars conjoin Pluto. Watch out for power struggles. Watch out for conflicts involving money and resources and maybe tensions there. Be brutally honest, but be kind also. Don't just be brutal about it. Be honest, but be kind and express your feelings. On January 26th, we get the biggest cosmic shift of the month, and that is Neptune entering Aries, your 10th house, for 13 years. Neptune has given you a preview of this between March 30 and October 22nd, 2025. What was that like in your professional life? What kind of opportunities came your way? What kind of authority figures have you encountered? What kind of professional situations have you encountered? Neptune here serves two things. Number one, it will inspire you and it will bring new professional goals. Creative goals. Maybe you decide to give acting a try, or painting, or producing, movie industry. Altruistic goals. Neptune in the 10th can encourage you to step into a healing role, to do work that serves the collective, serves the world at large. Spiritual role. Maybe you decide to study astrology, join my predictive astrology course, which begins in March, and learn how to forecast your future and begin forecasting the future of others. Visit anastasiadoesastrology.com for that. Maybe you decide to become a doctor. But the other thing that can happen is confusion. It can bring confusion in your career. It can bring authority figures that give you confusing instructions. It can also lead to tendency to self-sacrifice or self-doubt. So watch out for the more negative manifestations of this transit and try to lean into more positive ones. Saturn is going to join Neptune in February, so we're going to continue talking about this. Visit anastasiadoesastrology.com for more. Take advantage of my year ahead deal. It ends in the end of January. You can save with the codes in the description. Pick up my 2026 planner. All of that is on my website. For the beautiful Leo rising, December brought a lot of attention to your house of romance, pleasure, parenthood, and children, as we had a stellium of planets in Sagittarius, but they all squared Saturn and Neptune in Pisces in the 8th. So maybe your relationship was somehow obstructed or frustrated by the financial questions. Maybe you decided to sue your ex for money they owe you. I know someone for whom that came up, which is a very literal thing. Maybe there were some financial sort of considerations that slowed you down and affected your peace of mind. You were planning to have a good time and go to a party, but you couldn't do it because of some kind of duty you have to others or actual debt. Later in the month, Mars, the Sun, and Venus shifted into Capricorn, your 6th house, activating your work mode and getting you ready to get things done. That is where January begins. We are in Capricorn season. We have 4 planets in Capricorn, and there's a new moon here on January 18th. And you are starting the year healthy. I think your focus is to exercise, to eat better. Maybe you're making doctor's appointments, you're getting yourself in shape and started on the right foot. There may be more work projects that you're handling. I think you're going to shine at work because we have the magical Venus Cazimi on the 6th of the month, and then we have a lovely Mars Cazimi on the 9th of the month. It gives you both the courage and the bravery and assertiveness, but also charm and softness and eloquence that Venus offers. So it could be a great time to start a new exercise routine, to start a new job, to maybe figure out ways to do work in a more fun way. You're maybe going out with your colleagues and there's just like sort of a fun spirit of camaraderie and leadership opportunities as well. And sixth house is also connected to pets. So maybe you're getting a pet and you're feeling just really happy because you feel like the little furry creature is going to become your partner in crime forever. Especially around the time of the new moon on the 18th, there is this like new beginning. Getting more interested in health, you know, getting sort of interested in studying nutrition, becoming a healer, becoming a lawyer, becoming an advocate for people, or like even veterinarian, working with animals, fostering animals. Like you're very kind of driven to solve problems for yourself and for others in your life. Romantically too, dating a colleague or being very practical and helping your partner with their health, with their homework, with their work life. On January 3rd, we get a full moon in Cancer, your 12th house. It completes chapters from late June, early July, when we had a new moon in Cancer, and shines light on your blind spots, making you aware of the mental health worries that you have, maybe anxieties that you haven't addressed. It also urges you to slow down a little bit, because Capricorn season can give you the energy and encourage you to just go hard at it and accomplish things and just like achieve and go, while the Cancer full moon is this sort of opportunity to like slow down, warm yourself in a blanket, wrap yourself in a warm blanket, hang out with people you love, like get away, listen to music, take a beat. And so through it, you may be realizing what changes you need to make, and you're kind of seeing the connection between your mental health and physical health more clearly. From January 17th, the shift happens, and Venus, then the Sun, and Mercury and Mars all enter Aquarius, your 7th house. You're coming out of this work mode, and you're starting to go out, and you're starting to date, or you're starting to talk about the future with your partner, build business connections, look for clients. You're all about relationships from about mid-months, and Venus will give you the charm and will be able to draw in the partner you seek, likely someone unorthodox, quirky, unique, just like you like them. The Sun will also help you like negotiate, figure out any kind of agreements. Mercury here is good for dating like younger, youthful people with sort of playful energy. And Mars can be sometimes combative, but it can also be quite passionate. January 19th, 23rd, and 27th are the dates to note and be careful around, because that's Venus, the Sun, and Mars conjoining Pluto, which can stir some drama in your relationships. Even if it does stir drama, the thinking here is that Pluto wants to encourage you to connect with your passions, with your true desires, and with your motivations. And it will likely, through these power struggles and through being honest, you will face yourself more clearly, and you'll understand your goals and what you truly want in your relationship. So be kind, patient, and honest with yourself and other people. The biggest cosmic shift of the month occurs on January 26th as Neptune enters Aries, your 9th house, to stay for 13 whole years. Holy cow. So Neptune has given us a preview of this between March 30 and October 22, 2025, as it entered Aries for a little bit. And now it's going there for 13 years. Neptune here has the power to inspire or confuse you, or both. So in the 9th house, it can inspire you to study. Maybe you're feeling driven to learn how to guide other people, how to become a teacher, how to become a life coach. Maybe you are feeling inspired to travel, to learn a foreign language, you can also find yourself discovering religion and spirituality, kind of going all into astrology, Join my predictive course, by the way. It begins in March 2026, and you will learn how to use astrological language to forecast the future, how to speak the language of prediction and forecasting. But yeah, you're feeling inspired. You're feeling inspired to travel, to get away, to find some kind of spiritual meaning and truth. At the same time, Neptune can stir confusion, right? And so there may be a sense of uncertainty in terms of what you believe. There may be some suspicious, shady characters that are trying to guide and inspire you. So be careful who you listen to. Be careful to the kind of spiritual food you are absorbing. Watch out for sort of schemes to get cheap plane tickets or anything like that, because there might be more uncertainty in regards to those matters. And enjoy feeling inspired. For more, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com, book your year ahead reading and save $20 with the code 2026, or get a recorded reading by visiting the shop section, candle shop or print shop, and picking up a recorded option. Get my 2026 planner and my sunlight in a jar candle. It's perfect for Leos because it's the sun in Leo. For the lovely Virgo rising, December brought a lot of attention to your career house with a full moon in Gemini and your home sector, maybe bringing up matters involving family, real estate, property, and creating a little bit of friction, maybe not a little bit, maybe some kind of tension, obstacles, disappointment involving your close relationships, partnerships, contractual agreements, and business. There could have been a little bit of friction between what you want and your partner want, between you wanting some comfort and security and other people creating, like literally throwing obstacles along your path. From the middle of the month, Mars and then the Sun and Venus began to shift into Capricorn, your fifth house, and that is where we find them in January until the 23rd of the month. Capricorn is very much active, and this is your fifth house. This is the house of fun and pleasure and romance and children. So you are inspired, you're playful, you're childlike. It's a really fun first kind of like couple of weeks of the month, especially on the 6th of January as we get the magical Venus Cazimi. On the 7th, Venus conjoins Mars. On the 9th, we get Mars Cazimi. So it's sort of like a double Cazimi of Venus and Mars at the same time. You are feeling inspired to have fun. This could be a conception of a trip with your friends or a trip with your partner. This could be passionate new relationship. This could be passion in an existing relationship. This could be a conception of a child, if that's what you're aiming for, or a creative baby, right? Discovering something that you are so into that you're willing to commit to, and like, you know, tap dancing or shuffle dancing or painting. There is like a lot of possibilities for exciting pursuits that you are feeling inspired by. On the 18th of the month, there is a new moon here, which is another sign of new beginnings in love, in creative pursuits, in parenthood. If you are a parent of adult children, this can also symbolize something important happening in their lives. Your child gets pregnant, your child gets engaged, your child gets married, right? Something significant happening there. The full moon in Cancer, your 11th house on January 3rd, completes chapters started in late June, early July when we had a new moon in Cancer, and brings transformations to your dreams. Maybe you're completing a dream. Your friendships, there may be some shifts based on, especially if as we have all these planets in Capricorn, and maybe you're discovering what fun is for you. And you're maybe finding friends who are more aligned with that, right? Not that you're giving up on your old friends, but there may be some shifts in terms of who you're associating with. There may be a sense of like wrapping up some kind of project you've been involved in. Let's say you've been volunteering and the food pantry you've been volunteering at closes. I also really like this full moon as an opportunity to just sort of slow down and nurture yourself and go within and connect with yourself, right? And maybe figure out which friendships, which relationships, which social obligations are supporting you, because sometimes we are sort of like going with the flow and, you know, going through the motions and hanging out with people or doing certain things others expect of us, and those things perhaps are no longer enjoyable. So the full moon in Cancer is this opportunity to ask yourself, like, is this truly serving my soul? Is it making me happy, or am I just doing it because other people expect me to do it? From January 17th onwards, Venus, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars all shift into Aquarius, your 6th house, urging you to do work and take care of your health. Mars here from January 23rd until March 2nd is very constructive, productive, hardworking. You are also very unconventional in your approach to work. You're like, yeah, I know it's been done this way for 20 years before, but how about we do it differently? And people are like, okay, tell us more, because Venus is also there. And Venus helps you be charming in the process. You're maybe making doctor's appointments. I feel like I've said this already. Spending more time with your pets, getting new pets, taking care of pets' health, problem solving, dealing with lawyers, logistics, right? There's a lot of sort of know-how type of energy here. Watch out January 19th, 23rd, and 27th, 3 days before, 3 days after, as Venus, the Sun, and Mars all conjoin Pluto. This can lead to power struggles, drama, conflicts, tensions at work. So be careful, move slowly, and perhaps avoid being the one who's trying to manipulate others. It's also not great to be manipulated. So like beware of some friction and sort of overzealousness, either coming from you or from other people. On January 26th, 2026, we get the biggest cosmic shift of January, and that is Neptune entering Aries, your 8th house, for 13 whole years. We've had a preview of this between March 30 and October 22nd, 2025. What was happening in regards to money, debts, loans, mortgages, partners' finances, shared resources, maybe even wounds and fears, anything like that. Because Neptune coming here can do two things. It can confuse your financial relationship with other people. It can encourage you to be very easygoing, but in the process, you may find yourself signing contracts that maybe take advantage of you, or making agreements that are imbalanced and unfair. Just watch out that your sort of kindness doesn't get taken advantage of. The opposite can also, not the opposite, but there can also be a more constructive manifestation of this transit, and that is a sense of being inspired to work with other people, to help other people. 8th house is also connected with sudden events and mysteries and spiritual things. So you may also find yourself getting more interested in astrology, tarot, spirituality. If that is who you are, join my predictive astrology course. It begins in March, and you will learn how to forecast your future with the use of transit, solar returns, and annual perfections. I'm also going to teach the natal astrology, but that's going to be later in the year. Visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to sign up for my course, to pick up a planner, save $20 on the year ahead reading until the end of January with a coupon code 2026, or save $40 by getting a recorded reading in the shop section of my website. My beautiful Libra rising, December brought a lot of attention to your houses of everyday life, communication, ideas, scheduling. You maybe found yourself negotiating, problem solving, communicating, teaching, writing. It could have been a busier time. Yet planets in your 3rd house squared Saturn and Neptune in Pisces in your 6th, and you may have been delayed, slowed down, restricted by a health issue. I know I got a cold that is still a little bit lingering. And I'm a Libra rising, so I was very much an object of Saturn. Saturn tossed me around and had its way with me. Love you, Saturn. Sorry, I digress. But yeah, there could have been some sort of pragmatic, real life concern, a health concern, a work matter, something breaking in your life that really delayed you, slowed down, and made things more complicated. From the middle of the month onward, we started having planets, Mars, the Sun, and Venus enter Capricorn, your 4th house. And the energy became a lot more productive, a lot more strategic, and good at problem solving. So that's where January begins, with 4 planets, Mars, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury. And on the 18th of the month, 5 planets as we get the new moon, all in Capricorn, your 4th house. You are busy in your home. You are doing DIY projects, you are redecorating, you're redesigning, you're changing your furniture. There's a lot of action and kind of very sort of like pragmatic, strategic approach. New beginnings are here as well. We have the magical Venus Cazimi on the 6th of January. Opportunities to move to a more beautiful place. Opportunities to create more beauty in the home. New beginnings in the family, right? Maybe family coming to visit. You're going to visit them. Pregnancy, especially around the new moon. And then we have next month, we have the new moon in Aquarius. So for those of you who want to get pregnant, this could be the time. But it's sort of this like empowered time to figure out a new way of living. And I also like January 7th as Venus conjoins Mars, and the 9th as we get Mars Cazimi. So there are like a lot of opportune times for new beginnings in terms of buying a home, selling a home, moving, redesigning, redecorating, adding a pool, building a gym, whatever your heart desires. You're going to be good at figuring things out. The full moon on January 3rd highlights Cancer, your 10th house, and completes chapters from late June, early July, when we had a new moon in Cancer. This is about professional life. This is about wrapping up projects, maybe getting recognition, getting rewards for the work that you've done, figuring out what is it that you need professionally, maybe speaking up about it. Capricorn season is very heavy, focused on the home and family. So the full moon in Cancer offers you a chance to balance it by actually tapping into your career, right? Because as a Libra rising, your 10th house is ruled by the moon, and that represents what you need in life, and you may be quite emotionally attached to your career. So I think the full moon in Cancer is an opportunity to kind of like clarify things, but also maybe complete a circle of professional development and get ready to begin again very soon. Very soon. And do share if you remember what was started in your professional life in late June, early July. From January 17th onwards, we begin to see the shifts of Venus, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars into Aquarius, your 5th house. And Venus is actually in her joy here. So Venus is entering the house joy for her. And you are feeling playful. You are dating, going and meeting new people, attracting love and sex and pleasure. You are creating, you're making art, you're feeling more inspired, new ideas, new connections, new creative opportunities. You're spending more time with children. You're experiencing a sense of increased connection with your child. You're maybe growing your childlike wonder, like finding opportunities to be more playful and sort of have a good time. Watch out for January 19th, 23rd, and 27th. That is when Venus, the Sun, and Mars all conjoin Pluto, which can stir some power struggles, some control issues. Maybe there's some there could be some fears around love that you need to address, some obsession, jealousy, maybe like darker feelings that get stirred around this time. All of that is really helpful for like self-understanding. Pluto here is really great for like making you aware of what doesn't serve you. So be sort of clear, right? Pay attention to what might be stirring up for you. I can also see this for those who are single. I can see this as like a new relationship coming into your life, but then maybe you need to be a little bit thoughtful and discerning about whether this relationship is healthy or toxic, because maybe someone in your life just stirs so many feelings and a lot of them are anxious feelings, and then this could be the time to perhaps set that relationship free. The biggest cosmic shift of the month occurs on the 26th as Neptune enters Aries, your 7th house, for 13 whole years. So Neptune here has a twofold meaning, right? The more challenging one is confusion, idealism, like increased idealism in relationships. You want to save your partners. You're attracted to these sensitive, dreamy, addictive, escapist types. So you're going for people. There may be poor boundaries. There may be a tendency to self-sacrifice, and it's going to be there for 13 years, right? So buckle up. We should all buckle up. So you know, it could be positive too, because maybe you're actually finding this like soulful, magical romance. I'm just worried, as a practical, pragmatic Virgo I'm worried that this can inspire confusion in relationships. So be very clear about your boundaries. Take a moment right now after you listen to this horoscope to first visit my website and book your year ahead reading, because you can save $20. But I'm joking a little bit. But take a moment right now to write down your absolute deal breakers and your boundaries and what you want, and stick to that list. Make sure you're choosing yourself always, and make sure you're not putting yourself in situations you'll later regret. And enjoy the magic. Enjoy the sparks. We'll talk about Saturn and Aries next month. So visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to book your reading. Join my predictive course, begins in March, and don't forget to pick up your 2026 planner. For the lovely Scorpio rising, December brought a lot of attention to your financial sectors with a full moon in Gemini, your 8th house, and a stellium of planets, including a new moon in Sagittarius, your 2nd house. However, Sagittarius planets squared Saturn and Neptune in your 5th, and you may have had to deal with heavy duties and obligations, roadblocks, delays, and friction involving your love life, maybe some excessive tendencies like a gambling addiction of your partner, or some kind of obstacles involving love, pleasure, parenthood, and children. From the middle of the month, the energy became a little bit more constructive as Mars, the Sun, and Venus all entered Capricorn, your 3rd house. This is where we pick up in January. We have now 4 planets. Mercury is the 4th one in Capricorn. And on the 18th of the month, we also get a new moon here. So a lot of focus on your 3rd house. You are exploring new ideas. And the ideas may involve you learning. Maybe there's some exams you're passing. There may be business opportunities. There may be collaborations and projects that involve your siblings, neighbors, writing, blogging, skills and hobbies. You're basically very sort of inspired. And the magical Venus Cazimi on January 6th is especially great because it can bring up new partnerships, new ideas. Venus rules your house of relationships. So even romance with a neighbor or a beautiful date in the neighborhood. January 7th is a similar vibe as Venus conjoins Mars. And then the 9th, we have Mars Cazimi. So that can also be great, but maybe a little bit more action oriented. So you had an idea and you start an LLC, you create your Etsy shop, you launch your website, right? Some kind of exciting opportunities here. And the new moon on the 18th is very similar. It's It's a chance to get more involved, to start new projects, to launch a business, and to begin a writing project as well. You're taking ownership of what you know and bringing it into the world and sharing it with others in a tangible form. The full moon in Cancer on the 3rd of the month completes chapters started in late June, early July when we had a new moon in Cancer, and brings changes to your 9th house, which could involve a graduation, completion of a course of study, a travel opportunity, or maybe you traveled somewhere and now you're coming back. There may be a legal matter coming full circle. Visa that you've been waiting for gets approved, and it can also suggest an ideological shift. We are very heavy in the beginning of the month in Capricorn, and it's all about being productive and strategic and ambitious and checking things off of our to-do lists. And the Cancer new moon is here to balance it with a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of nurturance, a little bit of self-care. And so I think it kind of urges you to maybe go on a trip or take a break, read a book, rest a little bit, and get away from all the mundane and sort of rest, and relax a little bit. On the 17th of January, Venus enters Aquarius, and the Sun follows, Mercury and Mars follow later in the month. And that is your 4th house. So Venus, Mercury, the Sun, Mars here suggests that you're spending more time with family. Maybe family comes to visit or you travel to see them. There may be more action in the home. You're realizing that some furniture got broken, or that the wallpaper needs to be replaced, or something else. And like you're maybe fixing things up, especially with Mars here from the 23rd of the month. Opportunities to sell, buy property, move houses, work with family are all possible here. Watch out for ideological conflicts, for power struggles within the family. Secrets may come to light around the 19th, 23rd, and 27th of the month as we have Venus, the Sun, and Mars conjoining Pluto. You may feel like other people are trying to control and manipulate you, so as much as possible, set healthy boundaries and be honest and compassionate, yet strong in your self-expression, right? Don't let other people take advantage of you, and watch out that you're not being this person who stirs drama, because sometimes we do things that we later regret, right? The biggest cosmic shift of the month occurs on the 26th as Neptune enters Aries, your 6th house, for 13 years. We had a preview of that between March 30 and October 22, 2025, as Neptune went into your 6th house for a few months, and now it ingresses for good. What was that period like? Neptune in the 6th can bring inspiration. It can encourage you to go into a healing field, to become a doctor, a lawyer, a veterinarian. It can bring compassion for others and desire to help others. That's a more positive manifestation. The more challenging manifestation of this Neptune is confusion and poor boundaries and weird health issues that come out of the blue and are most likely psychosomatic. So you have to watch out for that. You have to be careful there. And being sort of too generous and giving, taking on more work that you can handle. So my advice to you would be set very strong boundaries and stick to them. And also make sure you have good protocols and routines around your health. Try to lean into spirituality as well, because sometimes Neptune in the 6th could be a great time to create a meditation practice, to learn astrological rituals and bring them into your life. For more astrological insight and guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. Book your year ahead reading. It's discounted until the end of the month. Information is in the description. Join my upcoming predictive astrology course. It begins in March, or pick up my 2026 planner. So many things. All of the exciting things. If you are a Sagittarius rising, December highlighted your relationships and your sense of self. there was a full moon in your 7th house and a stellium of planets in your sign in Sagittarius, as you've taken care of your health, explored your desires, updated your look, started new projects. However, all of the planets in Sagittarius squared Saturn and Neptune in the 4th, and maybe some of your progress was delayed, restricted. You dealt with some obstacles, conflicts, and challenges involving home, family, real estate. Let's say you wanted to move to Paris, but you realized that it's going to take some time to sell your home, so you had to slow down and take a step back and rethink. From the middle of the month, Mars, the Sun, and Venus shifted into Capricorn, your 2nd house of money and values, and that is where January picks up, except Mercury now joins the planets, and we get a new moon in Capricorn on the 18th of the month. So these planets are all in your sector of finances and priorities. And this can be helpful for paying off debts, advocating for yourself, making investments, getting a raise, starting a business, right? Venus is very creative, and it can suggest that you're working with women, you're doing something creative, you're maybe doing like something beautiful, or even investing in art. And Mars can suggest that you're making more and spending more. There's like Mars sort of speeds up your financial life. New ideas, new financial opportunities are possible here. New jobs might come into your life. My favorite dates of the month are January 6th, 7th, and 9th, as we get Venus Cazimi, Venus-Mars conjunction, and then Mars Cazimi. These are inspired. These are beautiful. These suggest both a financial reward and inner sense of confidence, that your confidence, your self-worth is growing. And as it grows, you're more likely to get opportunities that reflect your sense of self, right? So there could be a boost externally that increases your confidence, or internally that increases your attraction. You manifest, you draw all the goodness your way. And the new moon on the 18th could be the culmination of all the goodness. The full moon on January 3rd highlights your 8th house, as it happens in Cancer, completing chapters started in late June, early July 2025, when we had a Cancer season, new moon in Cancer, and offers you opportunities to rebalance, to pay off debts, to have some conversations about fairness and priorities, to make investments, to either commit to some kind of significant relationship that maybe makes you feel vulnerable and intimate, or get out of some kind of relationship that is toxic and imbalanced. Cancer is a very intuitive and emotional sign. Jupiter is right now in Cancer, your chart ruler. And so there is a lot of opportunities for closeness and intimacy being presented to you. And so I'd say trust your intuition as you commit or leave. From the 17th of the month, Venus, then the Sun, Mercury, and Mars all shift into Aquarius, your 3rd house. This speeds up your everyday life. More phone calls, more messages, more meetings with siblings and neighbors, more romance in the neighborhood. Maybe you're starting to date your brother's friend, or there's some kind of like collaboration, partnership. You're maybe getting excited about new topics, like taking on pottery or baking or astrology. Sign up for my upcoming predictive astrology course, shameless plug. It begins in March, and you will learn how to forecast your future with the use of solar returns, annual perfections, and transits. AnastasiaDoesAstrology.com, check it out. But yeah, like new ideas, new connections. It's like, I know it's winter time, but for you it's a little bit like spring. You're kind of coming out and maybe writing more, maybe blogging more, maybe just chatting with your siblings and having a good time. Ideological debates, power struggles, difficult conversations there's a danger of those on the 19th, 23rd, and 27th, as Venus, the Sun, and Mars conjoin Pluto. Watch out, but also keep track. If something triggers you, I really don't like this word because I think the word trigger is already triggering. But if something stirs you, right? If something inspires deep feelings, frustrates, irritates you, maybe it's an opportunity to address it. If you're feeling obsessive about something, if you're feeling frustrated by something, be honest. Look for ways to transform, look for ways to shed and let it go. The biggest cosmic shift of the month happens on the 26th of January. Neptune enters Aries, your 5th house, for 13 whole years. The preview of this transit was between March 30 and October 22nd, 2025. What was that like? What was happening in your love life? What was happening in your relationship with children? What was happening in your creative life? Neptune here is twofold. It can inspire you or it can confuse you, or both at the same time. So inspired, there may be new projects. There may be, if you're an artist, right, like a new idea. Maybe it's red. Maybe it's about fire. Maybe it's about martial characters. You are like driven to tell new stories. New relationships may come into your life, something beautiful and romantic. Yet, Neptune can be confusing. Neptune can make you more idealistic. It can suggest that you're turning a blind eye on something that is obviously unhealthy. So watch out for going for people who are escapist, toxic, unhealthy. Write down your list of what you want and what you will absolutely not take, and stick to it. Be discerning and enjoy the inspiration of this transit. Hopefully it only brings you good things. For more, visit AnastasiaDoesAstrology.com. Take advantage of my year ahead special and save on your personal horoscope. Information is in the description. And pick up my 2026 planner as we begin the year. For the beautiful Capricorn rising, December brought a lot of attention to your houses of physical health with the full moon in Gemini and your mental health with a stellium of planets in Sagittarius. You craved rest, you craved imaginative freedom, you wanted to get away and travel, yet something in your schedule, in your everyday life, in your relationships with siblings was bugging you. There could have been some restrictions, some obstacles, some difficult, heavy scheduling matters that you had to navigate. Things were likely improving or have improved from the middle of the month as Mars, the Sun, and Venus all shifted into Capricorn, and that is where January begins, except Mercury also joins these planets. And we have a lot of action in Capricorn, in your first house. You're coming out of the sleepier, frustrating December, and you have the courage, you have the energy, you're more visible. Suddenly you're like, okay, let's go out, let's hang out. Okay, I'll speak in front of this child or these children. You're sort of inspired, and Venus may also suggest that you're taking care of your appearance. My favorite date here is January 6th, and that is Venus Cazimi, or the 7th, as Venus conjoins Mars. You are beautiful, you're charming, you're inspired, you're attractive. If you're seeking to manifest love, beauty, and connection, it is a really great time to do that. On the 9th of January, we have a Mars Cazimi, and that is a little bit more about setting fitness goals, achieving things, starting business, any kind of like martial, competitive, projects that you're interested in, business, things like that. And then there's a new moon here on the 18th of the month, which is also powerful and inspired for reinventing you. This is your birthday in a way. This is your personal start and new beginning. The full moon in Cancer on January 3rd brings changes, transformations, endings to your 7th house of relationships. And take a look at late June, early July 2025 to see what was starting up in your relationship sector. Maybe you began dating and now you find a serious relationship. Maybe you got engaged and now you get married. Maybe you began a business partnership and now you're ready to dissolve it, right? There is also, I think, the focus with this full moon. The focus is on being soft, right? And like surrendering in relationships and looking for support and looking for nurturance, because there's so much action in Capricorn in your first house, and so much focus on going and getting things done and achieving and submitting and applying and like, you know, all the like ambitions of Capricorn. And so the full moon early in the month is just telling you like, you know, it's okay. You don't have to be the one with all the answers. Go hug your significant other, or like nurture yourself. If you're single, it can also be about relationship with oneself. But really, all significant relationships can be transforming around the time of this full moon. It can be about your lease maybe running out and you needing to sign another one, your relationship with your nanny, your relationship with your business partner. A lot of possibilities here. From January 17th onwards, Venus, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars enter Aquarius, your second house, and you are money-minded. You are focused on asking for a raise, making more money. You're maybe spending more money. With Venus, you can be spending on beauty or art. With Mars, you can be a lot more impulsive when it comes to making and spending money. Mars sometimes suggests lots of financial crisis and speedy recovery. Like you buy something and then you're like, okay, I need to make money, and you make the money. Mercury can suggest making money through writing. Like you're sort of financially savvy. You can also be working on projects that sort of boost your sense of self-worth, because second house also represents values. Conflicts around money and values are likely around 19th, 23rd, and 27th of the month, as Venus, the Sun, and Mars conjoin Pluto. So be careful, stay high-minded, watch out for kind of obsessive tendencies or underhand manipulative tactics and behaviors, and be honest. This can definitely lead to some kind of heavy conversation, difficult conversation around finances and priorities. Pluto really is here to kind of help you face shadows. It can also reveal if there is a tendency to maybe control things or have a lack mentality or have some kind of fears of letting things go. So it could be a quite revealing few days. And the biggest cosmic shift of the month is January 26th, as Neptune enters Aries, your fourth house, for 13 whole years. We had a preview of Neptune in Aries between March 30 and October 22nd, 2025. And now this is a permanent ingress. And Neptune is twofold. Neptune can be inspiring. So as it comes into your fourth house, you envision a perfect home. You decide to move. You get inspired to bring your family together and make everyone get along, right? You want to build a fireplace, which is very Neptunian energy. But Neptune can also be confusing. Neptune can also suggest that something in your family dynamics is uncertain. Maybe there is a family member that is struggling with an addiction, or they're taking advantage of you somehow, asking to borrow money and taking advantage of your generosity. There may also be, poor boundaries with family members, confusing issues with property. So if you're buying a home in the next 13 years, make sure that you're hiring someone to take a look, and don't just do impulsive things. And we'll keep talking about this transit as Saturn joins Neptune in February, so there's definitely going to be more to cover. For more, visit Anastasia.astrology.com. Book your year ahead reading. It is discounted until the end of January. Information is in the description. Register for my upcoming course and pick up your 2026 planner, my 2026 planner. Make it your 2026 planner. If you are an Aquarius rising, December brought a lot of focus to your houses of romance, pleasure, parenthood, and children with the full moon in Gemini, and your social life with the stellium of planets in Sagittarius. You maybe gone out more, spoke in public, explored new dreams, connected with allies. However, your finances could have been a bit more complicated, and maybe you encountered delays involving payment or the lack of resources. You kind of had to be, I guess, pragmatic and rational in regards to friendships and group projects. For example, maybe your friends wanted to book a house in Poconos, but you had to say no because your finances temporarily cannot afford it, cannot allow it. From the middle of the month, planets began shifting into Capricorn, your 12th house, encouraging you to slow down, to go within, to connect with your spirituality, and maybe to work on taking care of your mental health and sort of like resting and retreating and exploring more spiritual practices. And that's where January begins. We have Mars, the Sun, Venus, and now Mercury, all in Capricorn, your 12th house. And there is, after a busier December, you're craving solitude. You are craving quiet. You're maybe traveling, for some of you, going away to a spiritual place or just traveling to a different country. I really love January 6th and 7th as we get the magical Venus Cazimi. It is beautiful for love, as a new relationship may find you. Maybe it's a foreign connection. If you are traveling, you may fall in love with a spiritual practice like meditation or yoga or journaling. There may be insight and self-understanding in therapy. Astrology is also a great spiritual practice that you may discover as a helpful practice for you. Speaking of that, join my predictive course. It begins in March so that you can learn the tools of astrology and learn how to forecast your future. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's inspired for anyone who's creative. January 6th and 7th could be like, a new book idea or a new painting idea come your way. On the 9th, we also have Mars Cazimi, and that could be a little bit more about taking action, moving your body, setting fitness goals, and maybe also connecting with doing healing work. This can also be quite positive for like volunteering, helping people, working with those in need of mental health assistance if you are someone in the healing field. And the new moon on January 18th in Capricorn is about that and more. It basically brings new beginnings in terms of how you speak to yourself. It can encourage you to let go of bad habits. It can encourage you to kind of like take better care of yourself and realize how connected your physical health is to your mental health and vice versa, and that you can't neglect one or the other. The full moon, speaking of mental and physical health connection, on January 3rd, we get a full moon in Cancer, your 6th house. It completes chapters started in late June, early July with a new moon in Cancer, and it urges you to take care of your body. It may be a good time to schedule some doctor's appointments, to eat well, to also like declutter, to clear physical space and make more space for your mind as well, clear physical space to have more mental space. Professional chapters might be closing. I like this because I think we are so busy in Capricorn season, and we're so pragmatic, and we're so rational, and we're so ambitious. And this full moon in Cancer is just a beautiful opportunity to take a moment and to focus on like nurturing our body, our hearts, and our souls, and pausing a little bit, right? So the full moon in Cancer, I think, is all about, for you especially, it's all about your physical wellness. And still, we're kind of looking at like how your physical health is connected to mental health and vice versa. And do share how this resonates if it's coming to your mind, like what kind of maybe medical procedures, professional projects you're completing or dealing with. From January 17th, Venus and then the Sun and Mercury and Mars all enter Aquarius, your first house, and bring more visibility The sun will energize you to shine, to speak in public, to express yourself, to be true to yourself, to take care of yourself. You're kind of like coming out of a bit of a quieter, sleepier time, and you're talking about yourself with Mercury, you're taking care of your health with Mars, exercising more, asserting yourself, starting projects, beautifying yourself, changing your look, improving your style with Venus. All of that is great. A few dates to watch out for, that is 19th, 23rd, and 27th of the month, as Venus, the Sun, and Mars all conjoin Pluto. And Pluto, you know, it's a long-term transit. It's in your first house until 2043, so it's a major transit. But these few dates can bring obstacles, power struggles, challenging news or challenging situations around you that will potentially encourage you to speak up. Watch out that you're kind of, you know, letting it get the best of you and getting too aggravated, irritated, obsessive about things. If anything, look for this as an opportunity to transform something. And there's, you know, it's kind of like this ripple effect. Like if you focus on yourself first and you figure out what's important to you and you take care of yourself, then other people see it and other people get inspired, and slowly but surely the world becomes a better place. And it can also really be telling, like as these issues come up later in the month, it can also be quite revealing in terms of what's important to you and what deserves your time and what you should focus on. On the 26th of January, we get the biggest cosmic shift of the month, and that is Neptune entering Aries, your third house, for 13 years. We've had a preview of this between March 30 and October 22nd in 2025. What was that like? Neptune in the third can serve two purposes. On one hand, it can be very inspiring. The third house is about communication and writing and blogging and skills and hobbies. So you may get interested in something, like a new writing idea may appear, a new skill. Maybe you decide to take up fencing, right? I'm thinking of like Aries type of thing. Maybe you get interested in astrology. I've mentioned that already, but yeah, there may be some kind of like spiritual modality and practice that you're trying to incorporate in your everyday life. The more challenging manifestation of Neptune, it's the planet of dreams, but it's also the planet of illusions, right? And sometimes things that inspire us can also be faulty, and maybe just watch out during the next 13 years. Be careful. Watch out. No, but I mean, it's not going to be that like dramatic the whole time, but there may be some confusion. There may be a little bit of aimlessness that Neptune brings. You feel like you have a lot of ideas, but you don't necessarily follow up on those ideas. There may be confusion in the lives of the siblings, maybe some issues with neighbors or neighborhood or like people in the community, right? And having healthy boundaries, choosing honest communication and sort of sticking by your values could be really important. Visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to book your reading. My year ahead is currently discounted. You can save $20 with the code 2026 or $40 by picking up a recorded option in my shop. Get my 2026 planner and sign up for my upcoming predictive astrology course. It's going to be great. It begins in March. If you are a Pisces rising, December brought a lot of attention to your home, family, and living situation with the full moon in Gemini, and encouraged a lot of professional action as we had planets in Sagittarius. However, there could have been some health issues, some personal maybe delays, obstacles that involved like health and fears and uncertainty, as planets in Sagittarius squared Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. From the middle of the month, Mars, the Sun, and Venus all shifted into Capricorn, and that is where we find them the first 3 weeks of January, except Mercury now joins. And this is your 11th house. So you're a lot more social. You are going out, you're meeting people, you're speaking in public, speaking at a conference, going to parties, hanging out with friends. There may be a new idea that involves social media, that involves a group project, a podcast, blog, or something like that early in January, as we get the magical Venus Cazimi on the 6th of the month. It can also suggest that you are falling in love with a friend, or there is some kind of beautiful connection blooming, maybe with a new person in your life, right? Like maybe you're just finding a new friend and you're feeling supported. You're feeling like you have good people around you. You're like, you're a good seed. I'll keep you, right? Venus conjoins Mars on the 7th. Similar energy, really good for being a leader and maybe planning get-togethers, planning some sort of fun events, and also like sort of you're charming, I think, around this time. Extra charming. You're already charming. We know it, right? But you're more charming. And on the 9th, we have Mars Cazimi here, which is powerful for becoming an advocate for people who need someone to speak up for them, feeling more inspired, feeling driven to maybe just watch out that you're not like driven to get in fights on social media, but feeling driven to volunteer, to help people in need, to speak up for your classmates or your colleagues. And because it's an exalted Mars Cazimi, you actually are very good at expressing yourself and putting your thoughts and feelings into words. We have a new moon here on the 18th of the month. It is also similar energy, good for starting new group projects, podcasts, making new friendships, exploring new dreams. The full moon in Cancer on the 3rd of the month completes chapters started in late June, early July in your sector of romance, pleasure, parenthood, and children. There may be, I think what this ultimately means is nurturing your inner child and taking a moment from the busy life to have some pleasant experiences, right? To sort of eat delicious piece of chocolate, have a nice warm bath, hang out with your significant other, have a good time. But in the larger scheme of things, this could mean a completion of a creative project as you're maybe wrapping things up and getting ready for something new. It can bring changes to your romantic status, either an end to a relationship if you feel like it's run its course, or a solidification of a relationship, commitment, moving it to the next level. 5th house is connected to children, so pregnancy is a possibility or birth of a child, as well as changes in your child's life. But it's just also kind of this, you know, green flag of sorts that lets you focus on yourself a little bit more and speak up about your pleasure and your desires and be like, hey, this is what I want in love, in creative self-expression, in the bedroom, what have you. From the 17th of the month, Venus, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars all begin to shift into Aquarius one by one, urging you to take a step back. You've had enough of socializing and now you're getting away, maybe literally traveling. You are spending more time alone. You're sort of maybe writing or creating or doing more yoga, but doing so in the privacy of your home potentially. Or there's just, you know, there could be this sort of sense of closing something, like wrapping things up. You're maybe spending more time talking to spiritual people, gurus, monks. Therapy can yield good results around this time as well. Watch out for a bit of a challenging yet maybe eye-opening energy on the 19th, 23rd, and 27th of the month as Venus, the Sun, and Mars all conjoin Pluto. They can be very revealing in terms of self-sabotage. They can show you your avoidant tendencies, your bad habits, maybe your fears. And of course, Pluto really wants you to take ownership of those things and to be honest about them and look for ways to transform. So whatever happens, whatever like intensity comes up, don't run away from it, right? Like at the very least, let it come up. Don't fight it and let it pass away. And hopefully it teaches you something in the process. The biggest cosmic shift of the month occurs on the 26th as Neptune enters Aries, your second house of money and values, for 13 whole years. We've had a preview of this between March 30 and October 22. What was happening in your life? Neptune can inspire you. It can make you easygoing when it comes to spending. So it can suggest that you're like letting money just fly. You're like, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, what matters is having a good time or being happy. So do have some kind of common sense when it comes to spending. Watch out that this makes you too easygoing, right? You don't want to spend the last money you have. But in terms of inspiration, it can lead you towards creative, altruistic, and spiritual pursuits as sources of income. So writing, healing work like Reiki, tarot, astrology, all of those can feel more fulfilling right now. Speaking of astrology, join my predictive course. It begins in March 2026 and it will teach you how to use astrology to forecast your future. You can find it on my website. You can also get a year ahead reading. It is discounted until the end of January. And in my shop, you can pick up the planner. You can pick up the recording of the 2026 webinar I did with Rox and all the other lovely things. Thank you so much for watching and for being with me. I appreciate your comments, likes, and subscription. Do share this video with the loved one that you think can benefit from it. It will help my channel grow. And I hope you have a beautiful January and a great start to your 2026. I will see you very soon. Bye.